So the first one is Elevate Uranium, and that will be presented by Murray Hill, Managing Director and CEO, who'll tell us all about his projects in Namibia, that friendly jurisdiction, and of course Australia. Thanks so much.
With those words about how deep Athabasca Basin is, and what you should be looking for. We're drilling holes in Namibia 28 metres deep. They cost $1,000 a hole, not $1 million a hole, and we can drill 5 a day per rig. So pretty exciting where we sit in Namibia, and it's a fantastic jurisdiction. But so two jurisdictions. We're in Namibia and Australia. We've got £142 million of assets across both of those countries. We've got an extensive and diverse project pipeline, which you'll understand in a minute. And we've also got a patented beneficiation process which we developed in-house called the upgrade process. We're aggressively drilling. We've got 100 holes coming out of Namibia a week, not one hole a month out of the Athabasca Basin. We've got an experienced and dedicated team. We're strategically located. You'll understand that when I talk about Namibia and upgrade. And hottest commodity on the planet, pardon the pun. So when you look at our corporate structure, we've got 300 million shares on issue, low number for an ASX listed company, market cap 142 million. Bit of cash in the bank, 15.7 at the end of December, and we're burning about 800,000 a month. That'll go up when the 5th drill rig starts next week, and we've got no debt. So we're in a pretty good position. Our major shareholders are 2 ETFs out of the US and skin in the game from board and management. My wife is 3.2% of the company, so we're committed to the company. We believe in the story. We believe in what we're doing. I'm just about to rack up 12 years in the company, so I've ridden through some horrible cycles with the latest reduction in uranium after Fukushima, and now we're starting to enjoy our time in the sun. And we've done a lot of hard work to get where we are. We've built up a land position in Namibia during the poor times, and we've also built up some asset base in Australia during that time. So when you look at this slide, you'll see we've got these categorised by colour. The resource development sort of colour is the dark blue, resource definition light blue, and then you move into the exploration. And when you're dealing with Western Australia, it becomes an option play because West Australian Labor government don't like uranium, don't like a lot of things, but mind you, we don't like them. So we share the dislike. So we've got a couple of major assets in Namibia, the flagship Copies project, our Marinika project, and then in the Northern Territory, the Angela project, which we're working on. Namibia, great jurisdiction. You heard those people talk about it before. I didn't hear all of what Guy was saying or anybody else, but Guy and I talk regularly, so he knows where we sit and I know where he's coming from. We've picked up assets in Namibia because it is a good jurisdiction. Rossing Uranium Mine been operating continuously, the longest running continuously operating uranium mine in the world. 1976 it started, it's still running now, running at about 320 ppm, so it doesn't have the Athabasca Basin grades, but it has 48 years of operating. The pit's down about 450 metres. So we've got all the infrastructure around that project, international port, international airport, and 2 generations of Namibians familiar with uranium mining. So the culture's there. We're not woke like we are in other parts of the world. So what we're looking for is we're looking for shallow uranium in old paleo channels. So in the central Onga area, we've built up a land base, and down in the Namib area, we've built up another land base. Down in the Namib area is where we have our flagship Copies project, and that was discovered in July of 2019. It was our first of 4 discoveries. It was the first tenement outside the outside the Marinika project. It's now got a 48 million pound resource in it. Last November, we're about to announce an exploration sort of a resource update on the northern part and the southern part all the way to the adjoining tenement boundary. That'll be 20 kilometres of strike. We'll announce that at worst first week of April, and that'll increase that resource from 48 million pound. We now believe it's absolutely a project that's going to go forward. We're going to get this into development. So we've started an indicated drill program. We can't announce financial metrics around inferred, so we need to go to indicated, so we're going to an indicated drill program. I'm going across next month. I'm a metallurgist by profession, going to collect some samples from metallurgical test work program on our upgrade process to demonstrate that this works and feed into a study. So this is where we are drilling 5 holes per day per rig. Each hole costs $1,000 to drill, and you're not going to hear that from anywhere else. And the reason why we drill 28 metre holes is because look at this, 95% of the ore is within 15 metres of surface. What did Guy say that drill hole was? 400 metres deep or something or other. So this is going to be a really shallow, low-cost mining operation, low strip ratio. So near surface, and when you couple that with our upgrade process, this makes for a low-cost mining operation. So in Oz, just touch on these. Northern Territory, we've got the Angela project, 31 million pound at 1300 ppm. We did some seismic survey. Sorry, we picked up these assets for 4 cents per pound on the ground in December 2019. The world went to shit 3 months later. We couldn't get on the ground. Our Premier made sure we were the most isolated city in the world in Perth. We couldn't go anywhere. Couldn't even go to our West Australian assets. So it's only lately we have been able to. We've gone out there, we've done a seismic survey on Angela. We've found the lens that's mineralised. We've found another lens underneath it. So we want to go and drill that, see if it is actually mineralised. The only way to find out is to drill it. And also Minerva was discovered in 1976 or 78, I've forgotten now, and no drill holes since. And there's 10 holes with mineralisation greater than 10,000 ppm. So 140, 160 metres deep. So we want to go and drill that, diamond drill it, understand the structure and work out how to explore it. So we want to do that this year as well, along with our sort of 5 rigs working in Namibia. So in summary, here we are. We've got Cobby's project. We're doing a resource update this month, early next month, moved into indicator drilling, metallurgical test work, moving into a study later this year. Hirabeb Capri, our second and third discoveries over the last 4 years, we want to move those to maiden resources. We've got growth projects. We've got the largest land position for nuclear fuels in Namibia. We want to go and put our 5th rig on greenfields exploration. And as Guy said, greenfields exploration, where you're only drilling shallow holes, is a lot more cost effective than drilling really deep ones. Angela, drilling there, and also drilling at Minerva. So they're the areas we're going to be targeting this year. And then our upgrade process. Let's just talk about that briefly. It's a process we developed in-house. What it is we look at the minerals present, their associations, and what we've determined is that the gangue minerals are causing the problems in our process. Calcite is one of them. You can't leach these ores with acid because there's too much calcite, consumes the acid. So what we do is we actually concentrate the gangue minerals and throw them away. That's counterintuitive, and hence it's a patentable process because it's innovative. So we've got 3 patents around the world on this process. So what it does, we reject gangue all the way through to the very last stage. We concentrate uranium. So we end up with a concentrate with a mass of less than 5% of the original mined ore. So for us at Marinika, we gave that project life. It's gone from 93 ppm to 5,000 ppm prior to leaching. We reduced the acid consumption at Angela by 80% by removing the calcite. And when you've got less than 5% of the mass, you've got optionality. So what you can do is you can either leach and refine the ore yourself, produce yellow cake, or you can take that less than 5% of mass off-site. So in Namibia, Rossing been there for 48 years. I talked about the strategic nature of Namibia. Well, you could take a concentrate to them and they could leach it and refine it. Or you could, there's a number of machinations there. So we have a lot of different strings to our bow as to how we develop the projects, but upgrade is centrepiece. Lowers the cost base for CapEx and OpEx by about 50% and gives us enormous optionality as to how we develop the project. Lowers the processing cost, coupled with copies with a low strip ratio. It makes for a very inexpensive operation. So I'm looking forward to the study coming out on that. Having followed Guy, listened to Guy talk about uranium shortage, we probably don't need to cover too much on that. We are in a supply-demand issue at the moment. We don't have enough supply to meet demand. The only way to incentivise production is for the underlying commodity price to rise. And we've seen it rise up to $100 a pound. It's slipped back down a little bit now, which I like, because if what goes straight up in a straight line, it doesn't always stay up. So if we got a few pullbacks on the way up, once we're above 150, we might just stay there for an extended period of time. So really quite excited about where the uranium's headed and where we are headed as a company. This slide is the Cobby's project in Namibia. Koppies in Afrikaans means, that's not really good Afrikaans either, by the way. It means a small hill, not a Murray hill, but just a small hill. And we're looking across at the Koppies project, just the other side, those little sort of mounds, if you call them Koppies, and you can see power lines in the distance. So we've got power lines running through the project. It's not terrain where you've got to clear a lot. There's not many animals out there. So it is a desert. It holds its history. We look after it. Thanks for listening. Of the 4 or 5 people I saw yawning, I had to look the other way. So either my talk or it's getting into the day a bit too late. But thanks for listening, and I look forward to any questions.
Thank you, Murray. And we do have time for some questions. Any questions from the floor? Again, if you could wait for the microphone, we'd be very much appreciative, just so that we maintain the video stream. Maybe I've got a question while we're warming up, Murray. Are you looking at extending to other jurisdictions or other areas?
We developed the company with our eyes wide open. We developed Upgrade with our eyes wide open, challenging convention, and so we have our eyes wide open on that same front. So we're looking at assets that we've got that may be non-core. So for core for us is Upgrade can make a difference, or we can add value through simple exploration. So we're looking at both on and off our asset base. So yeah, we're looking at other jurisdictions as well. There's so many opportunities coming up now. People think their baby's worth is the most attractive, so they're offering sort of projects everywhere. So yeah, we're looking.
Mm-hmm. Great stuff, thank you. And we've got a question down here. Just waiting for the microphone, thank you.
Thank you. Murray, around the copies development in Namibia, what is the agreement with the Namibian government around the extension of that project and the future of the project?
So,
you know, governments in Africa are interesting.
Governments in Africa are interesting, but governments in Namibia are better because, I mean, Africa's a huge continent, as you know, and there's lots of countries within it. Your accent sounds better than my South African accent, by the way. But certainly, we don't have an agreement with the government. We're operating inside a national park for copies, and the government's strategy is that you can go and find something, and then we'll work out what to do with it. But Langer Heinrich, Husab, Bannerman, Deep Yellow, all inside national parks. 75% of Namibia's mining revenue comes from inside national parks. So if you said you're in a national park in Australia, you'd get a bit fearful of having a future, but certainly not in Namibia. Namibian government came out recently and said they want local ownership, government ownership, which really means about 5% is the number they've been touting as a BEE or government ownership of the project. So as an exploration company, you don't need to have any government ownership or BEE, but once you get to mining, you have about 5% is a requirement, which is not onerous.
Thank you. And we do have time for one more question, just down the front here. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm a bit proppy. I had a knee operation 2 weeks ago, so I'm just sort of, if you see me rocking around.
It seems the upgrade method of treatment is crucial. Can you tell us a little bit more about it, please? If you've got it perhaps patented or something? Yeah,
it's a beneficiation process developed in-house. It uses commonly used unit operations defined in a gold base metal mineral sands plant, but configured unconventionally, because who would think that you would concentrate a gangue mineral and throw it away? So it's counterintuitive thinking. So we just challenged convention all the way through, and now we've ended up with a process which I can get any metallurgist in Australia or in the world to go and commission it because they know the unit operations. They're commonly used. So it's just what we're using it for, just a different approach. It is patented. I can tell you that the unit operations aren't complex. There's no requirement of stream 45 to come back to stream 3 for it to work. It's a straight through process. The pilot plant's probably going to have a residence time of 30 minutes prior to leaching, if that. So it'll be a very quick process, very simple process, although I hate to use that word because it took a bit to develop it. But yeah, not complex. But the key is counterintuitive thinking and rejecting gangue minerals.
Okay, well look, thank you so much. And again, thank you so much to Murray Hill from Elevate Uranium.
Thanks.